People often assume emo chords are complicated, making use of weird tunings, obscure shapes, and things like that. While that's sometimes true, most of them are actually built from one very simple concept: spread voicings. Rather than stacking the notes tightly together, like you would in a power chord or open chord, you space them out using wider intervals. When you arrange chords like this, you naturally get a brighter, more open sound, which fits perfectly with a lot of emo styles. This contrasts with the more typical approach of bunching everything into one octave, which gives you a thicker, more focused sound. Both approaches have their strengths, but knowing how to balance them and when to use each is the real key here. Let's look at some simple ways to introduce this into chords you're probably already familiar with. One of the easiest places to start is with dyads, meaning a pair of notes played together. That could be a power chord, a third, or something similar. Let's take the third shape as an example. Here we have the root note, in this case G, and a major third, B. Stopping here gives you a typical dyad shape, with notes spanning a single octave. To apply this technique, simply add another note an octave higher than one you already have, leaving you with a shape that spans at least 2 octaves. And generally speaking, the wider the interval, the better. In this shape, adding the higher B allows me to do this. It gives a brighter, more open sound as it's much further away from the lower G and B notes already present. From there, you can choose to drop the lower B to simplify the chord, or keep it in, depending on the sound you're after. If you wanted to find the minor equivalent, the process works exactly the same way. Start with your minor third dyad, in this case G and B flat, then add the additional octave of the third. These can then be strung together to create a nice emo chord progression, like the one used in Window by Tiger's Jaw. And to inject even more of an emo sound into these shapes, try making use of common chord tones found in the genre, like 7ths and 9ths, while still applying this idea of spread voicings to them. You'll quickly find how easy it is to take a darker voicing and make them sound much more unique simply by widening the interval. Another reason these chords are so effective is that they work well with high gain tones, not just clean ones. That natural brightness created carries through distortion, helping the listener pick out the most important parts of a song's harmony. You can also make strategic decisions about which notes you want to highlight most within your chord, based on the octaves you choose to place them in. For instance, if you wanted to use a chord progression made up of simple open chords, but found them too muddy or overwhelming through a high gain tone, this would be the perfect opportunity to use this technique. Take a progression made up of G major, B minor, and C major. For each chord, you can remove the unnecessary doubled notes and instead spread out the intervals. Starting with G major, remove the lower notes so you're left with just the root note in that octave. Then move the third and fifth up an octave, giving you this shape. Repeat the same process for the other chords and you'll end up with a progression that works just as well with a distorted tone as it would played cleanly. Once you've got this technique down, you can pair it with a trick that lots of 2000s emo bands like Jimmy Eat World used extensively. You can learn all about that in this video.